you all for being here today. Today we are very much fortunate to have His Grace Vishwarup Prabhu speaking to us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Very important scripture that we have. It's full of nectar. We all know about that. And luckily for us, we have His Grace here today to help immerse us in that ocean of nectar. So you all please open your eyes and ears and your hearts to hear him. So Prabhuji, if you're ready, we'll put the verse on the screen and then we may begin.
So shall I recite the shloka? Or you are going to display?
Yes, yes, you may, yes.
Okay. So, Om Jnana Timirandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, text number 24 and 25. I will only recite myself.
Yes.
Ekada dhanurudyamya vicharan mrugayam vane mrugananugataha shrantaha shudhis trishito bhrisham jalashayam. Don't go ahead, please. Just come down. Hare Krishna. I need Sanskrit text. Jalashayam chakshanaha pravivesha tamashramam dadarsha munimasinam shantam milita lochanam. Now you go down, please. Okay, translation. Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty while following the stags. My voice is full here.
We can hear you.
I'm also
anyone.
Then Prabhuji, Rohinandan, Prabhu, check your system. Yeah, check your device because we can hear him clearly.
Okay. Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Shamika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes. Please go ahead, go up. The Supreme Lord is so kind to his pure devotees that in proper time he calls such devotees up to him and thus creates an auspicious circumstance for the devotee. Maharaj Parikshit was a pure devotee of the Lord, and there was no reason for him to become extremely fatigued, hungry, or thirsty, because a devotee of the Lord never becomes perturbed by such bodily demands. But the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee, but by the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee can become apparently fatigued and thirsty, just to create a situation favorable for his renunciation of worldly activities. One has to give up all attachment for worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much attached or absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. The Supreme Lord never forgets his pure devotee, even though he may be engaged in so-called worldly affairs. Sometimes he creates an awkward situation and the devotee becomes obliged to renounce all worldly affairs. The devotee can understand by the signal of the Lord, but others take it to be unfavorable and frustrating. Maharaj Parikshit was to become the medium for the revelation of Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Sri Krishna, as his grandfather Arjun was the medium for the Bhagavad Gita. Had Arjun not been taken up with an illusion of family affection by the will of the Lord, the Bhagavad Gita would not have been spoken by the Lord himself for the good of all concerned. Similarly, had Maharaj Parikshit not been fatigued, hungry and thirsty at this time, Srimad Bhagavatam would not have been spoken by Srila Shukadev Goswami, the prime authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this is a prelude to the circumstances under which Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for the benefit of all concerned. The prelude, therefore, begins with words, once upon a time. Is there any further purport?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So this is a very beautiful story. Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, who while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Shamika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently, closed eyes. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna.
thank you all of you for inviting me for this Bhagavatam session again. So all of you know the story that Parikshit Maharaj was a great descendant of the Pandavas. And as soon as the Pandavas came to know that Krishna has left this material world and gone back to his kingdom of Godhead, they immediately renounced everything and then they installed or enthroned baby Parikshit and made him the king under the guidance of the Brahmanas while he was a young boy, baby boy. Gradually, he grew up to be a very wonderful king. And there's a chapter in Bhagavatam which describes his personality, his character, as that he had all the qualities of all the Pandavas and many more great sages and great people on earth in only one person, that is himself. So he embodied all the character of all the Pandavas and also the character of many other great souls in the world. So he was a great Raja Rishi. And as you read his character, you come to know that he had all characters of a Rishi or a sage, although he was an opulent king, Chakravarti Samrat of the whole universe. Still, he was a saint, he was a saintly personality, he was a Rishi, and he possessed all the control over all the senses, over the urges of the senses, over all the unwanted anarthas, everything he had control over. He was a perfectly controlled, pure devotee of the Lord. And still he was ruling a kingdom and doing so very nicely. He would go out in the night for vigilance incognito. He would look after the welfare of all living beings. He will take reports from all the messengers, the spies, about the inner stories of lives of people in this kingdom. He was taking care of not only human beings, but also taking care of all the four-legged animals and other living beings who were also his kinsmen or prajajan, or citizens, you can say. So one time he went on hunting. Once upon a time, this is a prelude here. Once upon a time, he went for a hunting excursion. And amazingly and surprisingly, he became fatigued. which at that time he did not understand why he has become fatigued. He was overwhelmed with the experience of being fatigued, hungry, and thirsty. And he just naturally went to the first hermitage which he came across, which was belonging to Shamika Rishi. And Shamika Rishi was in trance, completely in a transcendental platform, withdrew all his senses within himself and fully was meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, oblivious to all the external happenings around him. King, overwhelmed with the hunger and thirst, pleaded for water. But as I know, in our Vaishnava etiquette, we learn that whenever a guest comes, we have to greet him and welcome him with a smile first. Then we have to give him a asana, a place to sit down, maybe on the ground or on a chair on the table. Then we are supposed to offer him water. Then we are supposed to offer him some suitable food. And after all that, we have to inquire. So, what is the purpose of your arrival? How can I serve you? If he has come from long distance, then we also have to offer him hot water to take bath and comfortable washroom, and then offer water, drink, food, and then inquire very nicely, lovingly about the welfare of himself and his family members, and then ask for the purpose why he has arrived. And that too not in a derogative way. Why did you come? No. What brings you here, my dear sir? Anything I can do for you? Any service I can offer you to make you comfortable? Anything you need, I can do for you. So all these was being followed by himself in his kingdom, King Parikshit. He himself followed all these things. And at this juncture, he was a guest and he was expecting that to happen from Shamika Rishi. And he requested him, please give me water, I'm thirsty. I'm tired, I'm exhausted. But apparently being in trance, Shamika Rishi did not respond. And obviously, as also mentioned further in purports of Prabhupada and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami, that the behavior of Shamika Rishi was not intentional. He was actually not able to hear because he was totally absorbed in the Supreme Lord. And the king apparently got frustrated, angry, dejected, and then his so-called natural ego erupted that I am the king of the whole universe. I am the Chakravarti Samrat. And I should be treated with great awe and reverence by the rishis. I am coming with humble mood to receive some water, and this arrogant rishi is not even responding to me. So I must punish him. So with his bow, with the pointed area of the bow where the bow ends and the string starts, he lifted a dead snake and put on his neck as an act of insult or punishment to him, as an act of impulsive act of anger. And he went away. Now he was in the spell of that illusion or of that by the will of the Lord. He was under that illusion that he was angry, frustrated, and fatigued, and hungry and thirsty. But after some time, he recovered from that. He went home and then he started reflecting on his own action. That did I do right thing? So Prabhupada explains here that saintly people or great souls or Mahatmas immediately repent. Repentance comes in the mind of a great soul as soon as the great soul commits something wrong. That is a sign of a great soul. That immediate repentance, first of all, meditation comes. And a good soul, a great soul always meditates. Whatever he does, before sleeping in the night, one should evaluate the activities of the day. And you will come to know, oh, at this point I did wrong. I shouldn't have said that. Or I shouldn't have done that. When you are peaceful, you come to understand that something you did wrong. So even to realize our mistake, one has to be peaceful. One cannot realize one's mistake when one is angry, hungry, agitated, frustrated, or is too much expectant of things happening, too much passionate. One has to come to the platform of Sattva Guna, a peaceful platform. And that generally happens, according to my experience, when you sleep and get up in the morning, or when you sleep in between, take rest and get up. Suddenly you come to realization that, oh, I did wrong. This is my usual experience. Moment you are in a turbulence, we advise people to go to take rest. Take rest before you take a major decision, or before you take a decision based on anger or frustration. Go to sleep. Maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, maybe just relax, take deep breaths, and then you will definitely come to know that this action is not correct. Whatever I did or whatever I'm thinking of doing is not correct. So when Parikshit Maharaj came to a relaxing position, he came to an understanding that I did insult the great sage. He was also thinking, was the sage doing this intentionally, or was he in real trance, or was he acting as if in trance? Then he came to a conclusion that he must be in trance. He's a great sage. He wouldn't have done that otherwise. And from the point of view of Sadhu, Shamika Rishi, he was not in his senses. In fact, later on we'll come to know that he also repented a lot, that he was in trance and he did not receive the king well. The king also thought, maybe I am not a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, a lower level personality to the Brahmana, to the sage. That's why he must have ignored me purposefully. But then he came to know that there is no question of being lower or higher. He was truly in trance. But the sadhu finally repented that why he was in trance. Because these Brahmanas in the previous ages, they were very highly elevated, not only on the spiritual platform, but also on the platform of mystic powers. So as soon as his son, I'll tell you about him a little later, his son Shringi was playing a little far away from the hermitage near a pond of water with his friends. He was a very young boy, I think 11 years old boy. And suddenly by the power of mysticism, he came to know within his heart that his father, the great father he had, was insulted by the king or by a person. He didn't even know that he was a king. Some human being came and insulted my great father. So being immature in his own understanding of how to use the powers that he has, he cursed that whichever human being has done this to my father will die in 7 days with the bite of a snake bird, Takshaka. Now some acharyas explain that at this point of time, actually Kali Yuga began. When the immature Brahmanas misuse their Brahminical power. That is the first symptom of beginning of Kali Yuga. When the Brahmanas misuse their position and power. And it may be harmful, it may be good, it may be whichever way, but mostly it is harmful. And apparently it created a very disastrous situation. You can see that it wasn't ordinary for a Chakravarti Samrat like Parikshit Maharaj, who was such a great saintly king, to get cursed to die in 7 days by an immature Brahmana. And the curse uttered by the boy Shringi, such a ghastly, harsh utteration, that utterance, the harsh utterance, broke the meditation of the father. How the father woke up? Because he didn't wake up from his trance while the king was there in front of him. The king had already gone. So there was no other disturbance for him. He could have continued his trance and meditation. There was no disturbance at all. But the very fact that his own son uttered a very damaging, harsh, and a worst kind of curse, his meditation broke. And not only his meditation, but it is explained that the meditation of all the sages in the whole universe also broke. Because King Parikshit was not an ordinary personality. He was an adorable and worshipable personality by all the sages in the universe. What to speak of human beings who are grihasthas. So wherever they were in the caves, in the holes, in the mountains, wherever they were doing ekanta bhajan, secluded worshipping the Lord, they got broken in their meditation and opened their eyes, and they came to realization by their power of knowing past, present, and future that the great King Parikshit, the descendant of Pandavas, Yudhishthir Maharaj, has been cursed to die in 7 days. What will happen to the world? Who will look after the world? Such a great, wonderful king was maintaining all the sadhus and maintaining all the living entities so wonderfully in a devotional, spiritual way, in a pleasing way to the Lord. So when he broke, the Muni, Shamika Rishi, got broken in his transcendental meditation. He came to know, he called his son and he questioned him, why did you do that? But by the time the curse was uttered, so at least the father told the Rishi Kumaras there that please go and inform the king at least, we at least should inform the king what has happened. Otherwise, he would not even know what's happening to him. And by the time the king was meditating over here, what happened? I did wrong thing. He was the king, sage doing things intentionally or not intentionally. The message came to him that you have been cursed to die in 7 days by the bite of the snake bird Takshaka. Now you can imagine what would happen to an ordinary person when he gets a message like that. Someone sends you a message on WhatsApp, or someone knocks your door and tells you, sir, you're going to die in 7 days. Sir, you will be shot dead today afternoon. Sir, don't go out today. You'll be poisoned in the afternoon. So life will become so miserable. We will like to immediately use all our powers, all our acquaintance, all our resources to counteract what we are supposed to undergo, how to negate, how to nullify, or how to overpower the event that is going to happen to you. The things will come in your mind like series of things. We want to defeat the happening is going to happen, which is being told to you. I want to nullify that. I want to kill that. I want to destroy that and not allow it to happen. Use all my powers. And here is a person who is all powerful. He's not something like little powerful or like an ordinary human being. He was a king. Our acharyas explained that he had such power that he could have counter-cursed or countered the curse itself and also counter-cursed in response. But the sign of a great soul is that he never gets disturbed when he is assaulted or attacked or abused. Or greatness of a person is measured how disturbed he gets when he is provoked. This is the greatest provocation. The death sentence, death notice, greatest provocation. But the King Parikshit was so great, he didn't even get perturbed or disturbed slightly also. He immediately accepted this as will of the Lord. So, this is the subject of our discussion. That usually when bad news comes, we react, even so-called peaceful looking person becomes so agitated, so violent and so angry and so frustrated. At that time it is said that our dear His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would say that you are when you are under stress. Your real self or your real personality or character is exhibited when you are put under stress. It's like the orange. When it is kept on the shelf, it doesn't do anything. But you squeeze the orange, that means put the orange under stress. And then what comes out is orange juice, right? So that is the character of orange, that it gives you a very beautiful, nourishing, sweet, nectarian orange juice, which is good for health. So you put orange under pressure, under some squeezing, blades, or you squeeze with hand, or you cut it and then squeeze it, or you put it into mixie, and grind it. Whichever you put orange under stress, what it gives is always orange juice. So His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was explaining, he used to explain that we should be like the orange juice, orange, or like a juicy fruit, Whatever happens, we should only give sweet juice to people. Let people put you under any stress, but we should give them only the juice within us. So similarly, when a great saintly personality is squeezed or cut or pressed or grinded, what happens is only the pure devotion comes out. The pure character of devotion or love or composure or wisdom comes out. So here is a proof. The highest amount of stress was given to him with the news of his death. And what does he think of? Oh, this must be the will of the Lord. Let me accept it as it is. He didn't say, why me only? What wrong I did? I should have given water. I didn't receive any good reception which I deserved as a king or as an ordinary person. And here, instead of sending a pardon, I have been sent a notice, death notice. So I must retaliate. I must go and fight. I must go and fight for my right, or I should counteract. But none of these things happened in case of King Parikshit. Only thing happened was he accepted the things as will of the Lord. Now, it is explained here by His Grace Bhurijan Prabhu that devotees, their lives are so wonderful that they are always protected by the Lord in all conditions of life. The Lord, merciful Lord, sometimes creates such awkward position for His pure devotees in order to bring them to a platform of renunciation or in order to bring them closer to Him. And it is explained that it is not possible, Prabhupada explains in purport, it's not possible for a person to come close to Him unless he is put under some stress which will make him renounce the whole relationships in the world. Unless and until a pure devotee cuts off, or it so happen that he gets released from the worldly attachments, he is not eligible to come closer to the Lord. So the Lord arranges for his pure devotee to come closer to him very fast. Imagine this event wouldn't have happened. Then king would have continued ruling his kingdom, taking vigilance, looking after welfare, and life would have gone on. But the Lord had a very wonderful plan through this event. One thing is to deliver Srimad Bhagavatam, and second thing is to bring Parikshit Maharaj back home, back to Godhead. So to fulfill purpose, these wonderful two purposes, King Parikshit Maharaj was put under stress here, put under painful, awkward situation. Now, why Parikshit Maharaj? Why Arjuna only? Who was a pure devotee of the Lord, but still he underwent illusion of family affection. Because Arjuna and Parikshit Maharaj, and like people, they are fully surrendered to the Lord. And when they are fully surrendered, it means, nachao, nachao. Oh my Lord, make me dance as a puppet in your hand. It's not just I'm standing on your feet and don't do anything with me. I'm just at your feet. It's not like that. I'm at your feet and I'm offering myself to you fully. Now, I am not the controller or owner or authority of my life. I give the ownership of my life to you, my Lord, and you use me the way you want, my Lord. Make me a toy, make me a puppet, make me whatever you want to do. Let me, please use me as an instrument in your hand to fulfill your purpose, fulfill your divine purpose or divine intervention. Use me the way you want so that you can be happy. Whether I am happy or not is not at all important consideration. That is why when the person who is fully in control of hunger and thirst and anger also, and other urges, he is put into a very awkward situation of being angry, being hungry, and being thirsty. You can imagine what you have not. You have not been like that whole life. And you are put in the same situation, in a very ugly situation of kind of an insulting or demeaning or degrading situation. But when you say, my Lord, do as you like with me, it doesn't mean do only good with me. Do as you like, whichever way you want. So another purport we can drag from this situation is, all the worst situations turn out to be good for those who love God. So here is the worst situation in the life of Parikshit Maharaj. And it has turned out to be so good, not only for himself, but for the whole creation as such. Because through that, Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. Through that, a greatest literature for the deliverance of the whole humanity at large in 14 planetary systems was created. It was a method by which Sri Krishna, made way for Srimad Bhagavatam to appear in this world. So when we say all the worst things in life turn out to be good for those who love God, it is not only for those who love God, it's for those who even don't love God also. For them also, the worst things happening in the life of pure devotees help for the good of everybody, good and bad, in the world. That is the beauty of being pure devotee. What is the contribution? They endure worst things in life, and because they love God, good things happen to them. But because they endure worst things in life, good happens to everybody in the world. Arjuna were put in the very embarrassing illusion, appearing to be a very simple, ignorant person, simple person who has no knowledge, who is an ordinary personality. He was made to appear very ordinary, not even a learned human being. In fact, Krishna called him Gata Suna Gata Sumsha Nanu Shochanti Pandita. You are acting as a great boy, but you are speaking nonsense, utterly nonsense. So he was made to appear like a fool. But out from that came Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which Arjuna already knew. He was already a realized soul. He was an Arya. He knew progressive values of life. So, although that was the situation, he humbly became a foolish instrument, appeared to be a very foolish person, humble instrument, apparently foolish, so that Bhagavad Gita was manifested in the world. He apparently appeared to be ignorant, asking questions again and again. Krishna answered. So Arjuna actually, even though he was a great advanced soul, acted as if he was a fool and acted on behalf of all of us. He represented all of us to Krishna and put all of our questions to Krishna, and got answers for Krishna for us. So similarly, Parikshit Maharaj, although he knew everything, he was a great soul, realized soul. He knew Kali, he knew how to punish Kali, he knew everything. But still, he accepted a condition of illusion, as if he didn't know. And he asked question, what is the duty of a person who is about to die? And out came 18,000 verses from the pure mouth of Shukadeva Goswami. In fact, the awkward situation which Parikshit Maharaj was put in, actually because of his greatness, attracted all the sages in totality of the world to that place. All the sages from all the universal places came down to that place where he was walking. They were following him. He was walking towards Ganga, and all of them were following him. He sat down, they sat down. Even Shukadeva Goswami was attracted in such a so-called awkward situation, attracted Shukadeva Maharaj to come there. Generally, when awkward condition happens, what happens? Police come there, or some authority comes there. Administrative authority comes to solve the situation, or to do a stalk and take a call and punish people and take them to jail. So in such an awkward situation also, because he was a pure devotee concerned involved, Shukadeva Maharaj was attracted. Narad Muni, Agastya Muni, Angira Muni, and Bharadwaja Muni, and everybody else, thousands of sages gathered there. Even common people gathered there. In between people also gathered there, who were half sadhakas, half materialistic people. All kinds of people gathered. That shows, the gathering itself shows how great Parikshit Maharaj was. And that's how Shukdev Maharaj, such a great personality, who was a parrot of Radharani originally, who heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus mouth of Lord Shiva and heard from Vyasadeva 2 times in the womb. Then he learned Srimad Bhagavatam from his father in his Gurukula systematically. So many times he, what do you call it? We call it as, when you heat Gomutra, cow urine, you go on heating, it gets sterilized, it gets vaporized, and then get condensed. And Gomutra Arka, that is the condensed form of cow urine, comes up, which stays for 6 months to 8 months without losing potency. That means the essence of the cow urine is produced by the process of sterilization. So like that, Shukadevji had studied Bhagavatam in that fashion. Essence he had digested and accumulated and assimilated in his personality. That person, for the first time in life, spoke. The whole purpose of Shukadeva Goswami appearance was to speak Bhagavatam, and he had spent so much time in studying and listening to Bhagavatam, very humbly, following the order of Radha and Krishna before they departed. So, the devotees of the Lord are always under protection of the Lord, and in any condition, this is important, in any condition of frustration or success, the Lord is guiding the devotees personally. Whether the Lord puts us in anxiety or frustration, or the Lord puts us in success or praise or adoration, in both the condition, He remains the supreme guide for all of us. The pure devotees, therefore, accept all conditions of frustration as blessings of the Lord. Now, this is a very divine consciousness. If you get money, if you get promotion, if you get authority, if you get a higher position, then you can say, oh, my Lord is so merciful. By the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of the devotees, thank you very much. I am grateful to all the devotees and their prayers and their blessings. Because of that, I got married. I got a son. My son got higher education. My family got this. I got money. I got position. Or the Prime Minister of UK may say, by the blessings of all the great devotees, and I have become Prime Minister. So it is natural to speak good things about good things. When bad things happen, we say, why the Lord has done like this to me? I did so much service to Krishna. I did so much prayers. I did so much sadhana. Why should this happen to me? But a real pure devotee who has realization, he will always say that, or the more than success in the failure or in frustration, he will say, this is the mercy of the Lord. Like Kunti Devi is an example. She is such a great soul that all those calamities which was happening in her life, she corrected them to a great blessing of the Lord. She never thought, oh, my sons have finally become the kings. This is the blessing of the Lord. All this while they suffered so badly. Now they deserve. And now this is the blessing of the Lord that they have become king. In fact, she thinks otherwise. She thinks they have become kings now. Everything is fine, so-called fine now. Now the real danger begins. Now there is no call in my heart for you. Now there is no agony to call you, my Lord. There is no prayer in my heart for you. And I understand those situations which were painful, they were actually the blessing of you, my Lord. But they invoked a prayer. They made me call you, and you appeared and you solved the situation. They made you appear in our lives. They made you be present in our lives. They always made sure that you are in our lives, always present. So this is divine consciousness. In ordinary consciousness, we only thank the Lord when good things happen. In divine consciousness, we thank the Lord more than good things happen when bad things happen. So this is the life of Parikshit Maharaj. So I'll read again the line. The pure devotees therefore accept all conditions of life, especially of frustration, as the blessing of the Lord, because they know, I may not understand now, but this is Lord's plan for my ultimate good. So Lord, I may not understand, but I understand that this is your plan. Why? I don't know, but I know it is for good for me. And let me continue. And thank you very much, my Lord. And Brahma says in 10th canto, Tatte nukampam sushimikshamano vunjana evad even vipakam ridvag vapurbhir vidhan namaste. Whether happiness or sorrow, whether bad events, the pure devotee always keeps offering pranams to the Lord, saying, thank you, my Lord. Such a devotee who keeps offering pranams to the Lord in most agonizing conditions, he is the rightful owner of the kingdom of God. Sa eva daya bhak. Next line is, difficult circumstances occur even in the lives of pure devotees, but the pure devotees always recognize Lord's hand in a situation because the Lord has a plan in everything that he makes happen in the life of his devotees. Because Lord is guaranteeing, he's guaranteed about the pure devotee that they will never retaliate. They will accept my plan. Although it is a little cumbersome for them, they will cooperate with my plan. So the Lord always has a plan. And very wonderfully, the Lord will always execute his plan through his devotees. If at all, when do you put your friend or put your person into an awkward service? When did Prabhupada put Tamal Krishna Maharaj or Giriraj Maharaj, okay, you go and do this seva? Yes, obviously it is known that in that Juhu temple, there would be calamities and troubles and difficulties. But why still Prabhupada sent Giriraj Maharaj? Because he trusted him that this disciple of mine will endure all difficulties for me and she'll be successful and she'll make the plan successful. He had that same faith in Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Yes, they will undergo tremendous difficulties, but they are entrusted by me. I trust them. They will endure all difficulties, but still do my work. They will not say, Prabhupada, sorry, I cannot do this. It's too painful. Let me go back home. They will stand there, bear all the difficulties. They'll pray to the Lord and still follow the order of Guru and fulfill the mission of spiritual master. So that is why Lord feels great pleasure to use his devotees for the mission to deliver the fallen conditioned souls in the material world. And it is not easy. Whenever there is a plan to deliver fallen conditioned souls, there is difficulties, there is persecution, there is abuse, there is arrest, there is pain, there is so much of punishment. But the pure devotees will not mind because they know my Lord is behind me. Why should I bother? The Lord will take care of me. I have full faith. I may be in difficulty now. The Lord will deliver me in the course of time. And not only me, but through me, many people will be delivered also. One more thing I want to tell, that looking at the life of Parikshit Maharaj, such a beautiful life he had. But anything can happen at any time in the material world, at the most unexpected moment. Whether you are a devotee or not devotee. This life in the material world is such that most unexpected moment, anything can happen. This unpredictability is an essential ingredient of life in the material world. Everything is so unpredictable. You are sitting now giving Bhagavatam class, you are listening Bhagavatam class. Anything may happen during the Bhagavatam class also. We don't know. But we have to know that even in this most unpredictable situation in life, we have to keep our mind at the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai mana Krishna padaravindayo. Our senses should be at the service of the Lord. Our mind should be at the lotus feet of the Lord in all conditions of life. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. We have to keep our mind always at the feet of the Lord. Sukhe duke bhule na ko badane Harinaam korore. Whether there is happiness or sorrow, we have to always chant the holy name, keep our consciousness at the lotus feet of the Lord, and let the Lord handle, rather than we struggling with the situation which is beyond us. The situation around us is beyond us most of the time. We are not in power to change, but the Lord is in power to change. So we don't struggle ourselves, we submit ourselves to the Lord and let the Lord decide when to act, when to change or not to change. Because whatever he does to change or not to change our circumstances, it is good for us. It is for our good. The Lord will change the condition or Lord will not change the condition. Both the activities of the Lord is for our good. That faith we must have. Now I will speak about the glories of today's day. Today is Margashirsha Shuddha Paksha Panchami, 5th day of the waxing moon of Margashirsha month, as Kartik has ended. Today's day is called as Vivaha Panchami or Marriage Panchami. On today's day, in Treta Yuga, Lord Ramachandra got married with Mother Sita in Mithila, Janakpuri. Very long story in Ramayana, but in short, after killing Subhahu and Tadaka, the woman demon and a man demon, and after throwing Maricha 800 miles with an arrow in the ocean, the Lord was taken by Vishwamitra Muni to Mithila across the river. And while traveling, they narrated the appearance of Ganga on earth. And at the end of the story, they reached Mithila. And in the evening, Lord Ramachandra and Sita Devi saw each other in the forest. Sita was plucking flowers and Lord Ram was just going around. At that time, when Sita was plucking flowers, Lord was going around. They had meetings with eyesight. They saw each other. And only at the first sight, they fell in love with each other. Sita Devi was observing Lord's lotus feet. They were so beautiful. They were so beautiful. And next day, when the same man came to lift the bow, she again looked at the feet, the same feet. And she was so enamored. And she had the faith that this person should lift the bow. And looking at the Vishwamitra Muni, taking his blessings through his eyesight, Lord lifted the bow, and thus Sita Devi came with the garland. Now there is a very significant thing here. Lord lifted the bow on the order of Vishwamitra Muni. But when Sita Devi came to garland him, the Lord refused. The Lord said, I was ordered to lift the bow, but I don't have the order to marry you from my father or from Vishwamitra Muni. So I will defer to accept your garland till the permission comes from my father. My father sent me with Vishwamitra Muni with some mission, and I am fulfilling the mission. Whatever he said, I did. But my father has not told me to get married because marriage is a very important decision in my life, and that my father will take for me. So Vishwamitra Muni said, okay, we will send some messengers to Ayodhya and inform and take the concurrence of father and invite him over here if he agrees. Messengers went to Ayodhya. They informed. Maharaj Dasharatha was very happy. He brought thousands of people, brahmanas, cows, elephants, chariots, wealth, and all the paraphernalia of wedding approached. He reached Mithila, Janakpuri. And then on today's day, the great ceremony of marriage of Lord Ramachandra and Sita Devi took place. All the demigods disguised as brahmanas came to attend the wedding. The demigods showered flowers from the skies on the divine couple. And then on today's day itself, Bharat got married with Sita's sister. Shatrugna got married. Lakshmana got married with Urmila. All of them were daughters of two brothers. Janak and Janaka's brother. They had two daughters, Sita and Urmila, and the two others. And they all got married together with Lord Ramchandra on today's day. This is a very wonderful day actually. When Lord united with Lord united with Sita Devi. And then they started the procession back to Ayodhya. Parshurama came on the way, challenged Lord Ram. Lord Ram subdued Parshuram, and Parshuram gifted the Lord with Vishnu Dhanushya, Vishnu bow, bow of Vishnu, active bow of Vishnu. And with that, the procession went back to Ayodhya, where Lord was greeted in a great pomp and reverence and happiness by the Ayodhya Vasis. And thus, on today's day, a very great auspicious wedding of our dear Lord Ram and Sita Devi took place. So it's called Vivaha Panchami. It's also called Bihar Panchami today. Bihar Panchami is called as Bihar Panchami because today is the appearance day of Lord Banke Bihari of Vrindavan. On today's day, Banke Bihari ji appeared in Nidhivan of Vrindavan. There was a great devotee who is the incarnation of Lalita Devi, whose name was Swami Haridas. He was the contemporary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also Vallabhacharya, also the flute incarnation of the Lord Hita Hari Vamsha Goswami, also Hita Harinaam Vyasji Maharaj of Vrindavan. There were many great souls who resided together in Vrindavan simultaneously or in the world as a contemporaries. So Swami Haridas used to stay in Nidhivan, and he was such a great devotee of the Lord, such an ardent devotee. He also happened to be a great musician or great knower of music in singing, in composing, in Sanskrit, in musical instruments, in every single thing, aspect of music. He was the greatest personality. Even today in India, there are many musical competitions, classical musical competitions in his name, Swami Haridas. All India music concert competition, Swami Haridas, like that. So he stayed in Nidhivan in a hut which had only a hole through which one can crawl in the hut. You cannot walk in the hut or kneel in the hut. One has to crawl like a snake and enter the hut, enter the hermitage. And inside there was a hermitage. And he would worship the Lord, meditate on the Lord, pray to the Lord. He had perfected his life. And looking at his great devotion, Lord Banke Bihari spontaneously appeared in Nidhivan. There's a place in Nidhivan where Lord appeared. And then Swami Haridas ji composed beautiful bhajans in glory of Lord Banke Bihari ji and worshipped him for a long time in the forest alone, incognito. And later on, then the temple was built by a king for him. And even there's a history that King Akbar came to meet him and received his mercy at one point of time. At the same time, Banke Bihari is such a Lord that he is very, very kind and merciful to his devotees. If devotees start gazing at him and he also starts looking at devotees, then he just leaves the altar and goes away. So that is why the Banke Bihari pujaris, they always keep closing the curtain after every few minutes, so that you don't get connection through eyes, and the Lord doesn't get sold out by your devotion. So they, before you get connected to the Lord through eyes, and they cut off by putting the curtain in between. At one time, the Lord was found to be talking with one devotee. When they closed the curtain for Bhoga, when they opened the curtain, Lord was not there. So they searched everywhere. They saw that Lord was outside talking to a devotee who attracted him. So from that day, he started putting curtain again and again. And there are many, many more beautiful stories of Banke Bihari ji. Banke Bihari ji wears yellow dress today on his birthday and also wear gold ornaments today. He also accepts Chappan Bhoga today. And I cannot say how many people visit him today. Millions of people. There must be stampede and great barricading in Vrindavan today. Because so many people anyway come usually to visit him. Always it is crowded. Only those who are young wrestlers can go in temple to visit him. Sometimes fortunately there will be no crowd, but almost all the time only those who have strength, they can go there. Such is the attraction of Banke Bihari ji. And Banke Bihari ji is supposed to be the king of the Vrindavan. And but great loving Lord. The time is not so much enough to tell you all the pastimes of Banke Bihari ji. But suffice to say, Banke Bihari is called Banke Bihari because he has got threefold bending form. So that bending is called Banke in Sanskrit or in Braj Bhasha. So the Lord, who is wandering personality of Vrindavan, who is bent in three places in his body, is called Banke Bihari. When he appeared in Nidhivan, he was called as Kunja Vihari. He appeared in the Kunja called Nidhivan. But then he was called Banke Bihari by lovingly by devotees. So it happens to be a central place in Vrindavan. And Banke Bihari has Mangalarti at 9:30 in the morning. The only temple in the whole world where Mangalarti is 9:30. And the latest, the temple is open till 10 o'clock in the night. In winters, it is 10 o'clock in the morning, Mangalarti, and 10 p.m. in the night, the temple closes. Because one great devotee was serving the Lord had accompanied the Lord as a guard or as a bodyguard to Rasalila arena. And then the Lord came out at 4 in the morning and came back to temple. The accompaniment also came back to temple, the escort. The escort stood outside the temple and Lord went inside. And very soon, after a few minutes of Lord entering the temple, from the closed locked door, Lord entered the temple and he said, the guard, the boy, the devotee to wait outside. And he put his warm blanket on that devotee because it was very cold in the morning. The Lord went inside. The old man was wearing that blanket of the Lord, which the pujaris had put in the previous night on the Lord, being cold. As soon as Lord entered the temple, the pujaris came to open the temple for Mangal Arati. And this old man started shouting at them, don't open the temple. Lord has just gone to take rest. Let him take rest. He has danced the whole night. When he will sleep? If you wake him up right now. The pujaris thought he's a madman, totally. Night time also he was fighting for service. So they thought he was some crazy man. But morning they were convinced he was completely crazy. But they opened the temple and saw the shawl was missing. And they searched everywhere. And they came out and they saw the shawl on the body of this old man. Old man said, I told you. The Lord came just now and he put this blanket on me and he went inside. And that time they believed this, not a crazy man. He's a great devotee of the Lord. Lord has come out of the temple to put his blanket on him. Wow. So then he said, don't wake him up. So from that day, they are waking up after 5 hours of 4 o'clock. That is 9:30 a.m. The Lord is just whole night played Raslila, he's tired, he comes to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then 9:30 they wake him up and everything is late. That is Banki Bihari's story, you know. And there's so many beautiful stories of Banki Bihari ji. Basically, Banki Bihari's love for his devotees is the essence of all the stories. One time, and there are many sages in Vrindavan who are at their hermitage, but they can sit there in the hermitage and take darshan of Banki Bihari ji. And they will describe you all the color of the dress, ornaments he is wearing, kind of turban he is wearing, everything they'll describe from their home. So somebody, you know, not so faithful, somebody who came to meet such a great sadhu and they asked, at 12 o'clock in the midnight, they approached sadhu and told, Sadhu ji, please tell me, what is Banki Bihari doing right now? So sadhu closed his eyes and he said, right now, Banki Bihari ji is eating sweets at one old man's shop near the temple. So that man just laughed and laughed and laughed because he knew that Banki Bihari is sleeping right now. He's supposed to be sleeping. So he said, you don't fool me. It's the time for him to sleep. The pujaris are put him to sleep for 12 o'clock in the night. What he's doing? So you go and check. So the man came all the way to Banki Bihari temple in the middle of the night. And you know, at the Banki Bihari temple, there are many sweet shops outside. Many sweet shops. Some many other items also are sold, but many sweet shops are there. And we may feel those are businessmen only after money, but many of them are pure devotees. I know them. So he came there and all the shops were closed, except one shop where the old man had made fresh sweets and he had offered those sweets to the photo of Banki Bihari in the middle of the night so that he can sell them tomorrow. And he was ringing the bell and offering those beautiful sweets, variety of sweets to Banki Bihari. And when this man came, Banki Bihari gave him darshan. The old man did not see, but Banki Bihari gave darshan to that unfaithful person. That unfaithful man saw Banki Bihari eating those sweets fresh from the plate of that old man. So this kind of miracles, there are plenty of them, where Banki Bihari responds to the loving devotion of his sincere devotees who are simple-hearted and dedicated to him. And they only serve him. So move all the shops out of Banki Bihari temple. They only offer Banki Bihari prasad as sweets. Because in every shop there is Banki Bihari photograph and they offer the sweet to Banki Bihari ji and then they sell to all of us. So Vrindavan is a very special place. We cannot judge a person in Vrindavan by his external appearance or by his external behavior. They are all deep, hardcore devotees at the core. Hardcore devotee at the core of the Lord. Lord Banke Bihari is very merciful, always responding to their love. So let us hope and pray that Banke Bihari ji is also merciful upon us. Let's also pray that Lords Ramchandra and Sita Devi also are kind upon us and they keep us at their lotus feet. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Congratulations on the occasion of Vivaha Panchami and Bihar Panchami. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Oh, my Krishna. I certainly will go back to listen to this lecture again.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, because so much nectar, so much lessons and insights. And I'm just praying that someday, very soon, Lord Banke Bihari will bless me just like the doubtful man whom he showed his mercy upon him. And obviously, he became a devotee. That someday I can also become his devotee. But dear devotees, at this point, the floor is open. Whoever has a question, please indicate by using the hand emoji or use your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question. Okay, thank you so much. Shriman Maharaj Prabhu, please unmute.
And give your darshan also.
Yes, if possible, please. Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Okay, just 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My
Yes.
obeisances, our glories to Prabhupada, our glories to you, Prabhu. Thank you for this wonderful class and all the wonderful pastimes of Banke Bihari and Lord Ramachandra. I am very fortunate to have a darshan of Banke Bihari in Kenya. Nairobi Temple, they have Banke Bihari.
Wow.
And since the time I visited to today, one devotee became so pleased with me every day. He sent me picture of Banke Bihari every day.
Wow. Live from Vrindavan.
No, not from Vrindavan. The ones in Nairobi, Kenya.
Nairobi.
They're also Banke Bihari. Yeah. Okay, my question. We heard that Kali Yuga began when the Shudra, who was dressed in a king's robe, was maltreating the bull.
Kali.
Yes, Kali, right. So that was when Kali Yuga entered, according to that version. And then another version, like you said, the Kali actually entered when Sringi misused the Brahmanical power. So we have seen first that Mara Parishit accosted the personality of Kali and tried to stop him from entering and gave him places to stay. And then afterwards, when Mara Parishit had his anger has passed on, Sringi cursed him. And we now made to believe again that Kali now entered because of, so at what time Kali really entered?
So it's like this. It's like this. Suppose a thief comes in your country or in a city. He may come and stay there for some time. He'll just go to market, eat food, restaurant, make friends with people. And he will not do any of robbery. But after some time, when he settles down, he will start his robbery. You won't even come to know that he's a robber. He's a thief. So like that, Kali came, he met Parishit Maharaj. Parishit Maharaj, he was requesting Parishit Maharaj to give place. So Parikshit Maharaj told him, go and stay here. He said, oh, there's no such place like this. So give you another place. So he said, okay, go stay where there's gold. So he started staying first in the place where excess gold was there, excess wealth. But the effect of Kali manifested little later on. It's like I eat something, some dirty food. I may not get immediate disease, but the effect of my eating dirty food will manifest after 8 days, maybe after 4 days, maybe after 5 days, maybe the next day. So like that, Kali entered, but when he entered, he did not show his colors. And the first effect was seen on the heads of the Brahmanas, who got, immature, impulsive in their behavior, misusing their power. And that's how the effect of Kali Yuga began. So when I say Kali Yuga began, means with effect it began. Kali must have entered earlier. Or Kali is there in our lives also. But the effect may not be there. When we chant Hare Krishna and surrender to the Lord, effect may not be there. The effect was seen first in Shringi Brahmana. I meant like that. So it's a subtle way of saying that Kali Yuga began with its effect at that time. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. The analogy gives a lot of insight and clear explanation. So I think Shimagara Prabhu also accepts that. The thief comes in, but even though he's a thief, he hasn't caused any theft yet. But there is a time when he physically steals. So those two aspects are there. Thank you so much. Anyone else with any question? Prabhuji, your class invites lots of questions. I'm not sure we'll have enough time to ask all the questions. But
try our best, whatever we can.
Okay, we'll try. One thing I'm realizing is this question is partly answered in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, that sometimes when similarly unfavorable things happen to devotees, those outside may consider it to be unfavorable, but the devotee himself knows that this is the hands of Krishna. Now, my question is, how do we as practicing devotees know as to when, if something happens in our life, is Krishna's plan or is Maya's plan? And if it's Maya's plan, we have to do something to stop it. If it's Krishna's plan, we have to let it move on. But most of us, including myself, are not devotees, what to speak of pure devotees, to understand if this is coming from Krishna or is coming from Maya. At my point, lots of things happening in my life, I believe, are caused by Maya, because Krishna is not going to deal with me. I'm sinful. So at what point, as practicing devotees, do we try to make some things right?
Very simple. Whenever you have a doubt like this, just ask devotees. Ask devotees who are senior to you. Ask your spiritual master. My dear spiritual master, my dear brother, please tell me, what is this? Is this Maya or Krishna? If you have a doubt, make it very simple, because if we speculate on our own strength, then more illusion will fall upon us. If we speculate, oh, this may be Maya, this may be Krishna, this may be this, that. Finally, it is all in control of Krishna. Even if Maya will be acting upon us, she will not act upon us unless Krishna sanctions. So finally, he is the doer. But at the same time, the immediate doer is Maya or immediate doer is Krishna. We will not get into that kind of baffling discussion or speculation. Better we submit ourselves to senior devotees, or any devotees who are next to us available that time, please submit yourself to them with faith that Krishna will speak through them. And another guideline is, if we are chanting Hare Krishna as per the order of spiritual master, if we follow 4 regulative principles sincerely for the pleasure of the Lord and Guru Maharaj, scriptures, and we serve the Vaishnavas, then we should know that in that case, when our life is governed by pure activities, then Krishna is directly controlling us. And when we are like halfway in between, or we are mild, or we are diluted in our sadhana, we are compromising in our principles, then we should be sure ourselves only that Maya is acting upon us. You and me know very clearly where I am bullying and where I am making a mistake, or where I am breaking my principle. We know. Nobody else has to tell us. We know within ourselves what our mind is thinking, what we are meditating on, everything we know. So if we are sure that we are deviating, then we should know Maya is working on us. And if we are sure that we are not deviating and we are sincerely following, trying our best, then we know Krishna is controlling. But if you have doubt, then don't speculate more. Go to devotees and submit yourself to devotees. The devotees on behalf of Krishna will speak what is exactly happening.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to approach a senior devotee or the spiritual master. Yeah. All right. Shima Vara Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Okay, so I'm driving, so I cannot share my phone. So
Okay.
I hope you're hearing me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I have two questions.
All
One
right.
is in line with the question you just asked.
I
When
can't hear the
devotee
question.
is going through, yeah,
Okay.
when the devotee is going through,
I'll try
Are you hearing
to repeat. Yes. Yeah.
he's going through difficulties, you know, like we say, Krishna is putting him through this, but Krishna knows that he's using him as an instrument. But then most time the world, people don't see that. And most time these devotees, they end up, you know, maybe with those calamities before people start honoring them. So most cases, these temptations, calamities that devotees go through are not actually seen by the people of the world or even by the devotees around. Like it is Krishna mercy or Krishna trying to use him for this purpose. Anyway, that is one observation. Now we may say, well, there are different cases, but quite most often this is what happens. Maybe I cannot remember in Vedic tradition, but Jesus Christ's example.
Can you summarize your question?
No, I hope you got that.
No,
That
I think you have to
question is
repeat.
clear.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So the second part of the question. Second part. Anyway, maybe you should answer this one first. Since it's not hearing me.
Can you repeat for me?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. He's driving, so
No
it's
problem.
on and off sometimes. What he was trying to ask is like following up with the question I asked and the answer you gave, that we see sometimes in practicing devotees' lives that a particular devotee may be going through some similar hardships, but the devotee himself and the devotees around do not see the hand of Krishna in it. And all we all conclude is that the person is in Maya until maybe at a very, very later stage, people realize that, oh, this was something done by Krishna. And so what he's trying to ask is,
What is the question?
So what he's trying to ask is, how do we as devotees try to see the hand of Krishna in the lives of devotees?
That requires very pure consciousness. To see Krishna's hand in your life or in others' life, one needs pure consciousness. And again, here we cannot speculate. In other lives, more than our lives, in others' lives, that, oh, this is Maya, or this is Krishna. We actually don't have an authority to actually judge, to see the hand of Krishna in my life or his life or her life. So I always think that the best is the association of devotees. there we will get the proper guidance. If we are in a good association or we are in touch with spiritual master, then we don't have to analyze others' lives, whether that is Krishna's hand or Maya's hand. Because mostly we will make mistake because we are not pure. So I would just leave it to the pure devotees, the spiritual master, to tell us whenever they want to tell us. And I would not like to go and inquire Maharaj whether he is in Maya or he is in Krishna's hands, or whether he is pure devotee, Krishna is handling him. I would rather choose to be an observer, silent observer, and I would like Krishna to reveal to me at appropriate time what he has to reveal to me, rather than my demand to Krishna to tell me now whether your hand is there or whether Maya is doing all this thing with the devotee. But this is a very difficult and dangerous zone, gray area, where we will misjudge somebody, and maybe we will fall down because of that. It's like in crude words, it's none of our business, to judge somebody, whether he is in Krishna's hands or whether he is Maya's hands. We can humbly submit ourselves to our Guru Maharaj, and things will be revealed to us in the course of time. We don't have to be impatient or worried. But at the same time, we need to strive for pure consciousness. We need to work hard to develop our consciousness to be pure, so that one day will come when we can see things as they are. But more important is to know our situation than other situation. That is a better, safe situation to judge ourselves, and to analyze our situation than someone else's situation.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for that answer. Anyone else with any question? See, Prabhu, Shri Krishna. Okay, go.
I had two questions.
Okay, go ahead, Prabhuji, please, go ahead.
The second question is about Mithila. In the pastimes of Lord Ram, Mithila seemed to have been of a special role. I had it once, but it has escaped me. And since Prabhu, you've given so much nectar about the lost pastime, can you please remind us what makes Mithila a special holy place other than other like Ayodhya and
Mithila is a place Mithila is a place
compared with other holy places as being very special.
Mithila is a place where Sita was born. It's like Barsana. It's like Raval in Vrindavan Dham. It is Sita Devi's birthplace and Sita Devi's residential place. She was raised there for the first 6 years of her life. And she is an internal potency of the Lord, and she did a lot of wonderful pastimes in Mithila. She lifted the bow of Lord Shiva to pluck the flowers. She lifted the bow of Lord Shiva to take the ball which had gone under it. And even demigods could not lift the bow, but this baby girl, who was just 5-year-old, lifted the bow and showed tremendous power. At the same time, she was so delicate, unbelievable delicate. So delicacy, being delicate and being strong like that is not going together always. But she had that amazing combination of being so delicate, Ati Sukomal Sukumari, and a strong personality lifting the bow also. So Mithila is very special because it is Lord Mother Sita's birthplace, and the pastime of Parshuram took place in Mithila. There are 50 ponds which Mother Sita made in Mithila, which when you land in Mathura by flight, you will see from the sky the 50 ponds which are there in Mithila. There's a place where Lord Ramchandra first saw her, that garden where they actually first met. That place is there. There's a place where they got married. There's a place where she stayed. There are about 350 Shaligram Shilas which she worshipped before getting married. There's a big room there, huge room with all Shaligram Shilas which she worshipped. This is an amazing place. Amazing place actually. You will feel so much spiritual vibration if you go there. It's a very special place. There's only Radhanath Swami Maharaj went there in 1972 and spent a 1 full month. And that is like a memorable part in his life, the experiences he got in Mithila. Very, like we love Barsana because of Radharani's inhabitants there. So it's like Barsana of Ramayana era. Mithila, Janakpuri. Very bold.
Hare Krishna. I mean, Prabhuji, the stories you share, it makes it so beautiful that Krishna actually is a person and we can relate with him personal level. So it's amazing. Anyone with any question, please? Actually, sorry, I was asking a question and Shrimavara had to ask this question. And that is, Lord Krishna, Sri Prabhupada explains in the purport why Krishna put Maharaj Parikshit into hunger and thirst so that the Srimad Bhagavatam will be spoken. Just as same Krishna used his grandfather Arjuna. Now, my question is, Krishna used two people on the same line of family line to speak the two most important scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Wow, wonderful. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, so my question is, does that mean that Krishna wanted to use that particular family line to deliver the world, or because of the persons involved? Was it because of Arjuna as a person and Maharaj Parikshit as a person, or is it because of the Yadu dynasty?
No,
Hare
it
Krishna.
is not because of dynasty. I'm clearly clear about that.
Okay.
Krishna's love or relationship are always personal. They are always connected to a person. It just happened to be coincidentally from the same family. Yudhishthira Maharaj and Arjuna and Abhimanyu and Parikshit. They just happened to be in one family, but it doesn't mean that all people in the same family were same. Why Krishna chose Arjuna and not Yudhishthira for Bhagavad Gita? Why Krishna chose Parikshit and not Arjuna to tell Bhagavatam or Bhima to tell Bhagavatam? Because each and individual, everybody is different. Although they have love, we all have love for Krishna, but still we are different and our love is different and Lord's appreciation of our love is different. Our love is different for him. So it is more than a dynasty or family, it's very personal. And you see Shabri, she didn't have a family lineage where there are many great devotees, so she also was one of them. She was standalone devotee, right? And there are so many other devotees who are standalone devotees like Ahilya. So many people are there. They didn't have a family lineage. If it happens to be like family lineage, good, well and good. That happens to be in Pandavas. All 5 are brothers. Mother is a devotee, so everybody is a lover of the Lord. But at the same time, one Vibhishan is there in the whole dynasty of Rakshasas, who stands out alone and Krishna reciprocates with him, right? So I don't think it's familial. It is mainly individual. And you and me also can become Vibhishan, also can become like Parikshit Maharaj, and will receive the same kind of personal attention that the Lord is giving to them. The opportunity is there with all of us. It's not that only Arjuna could do that, only Parikshit could. Of course, we have respect. We are, out of humility, we don't claim to be like them. But we can't say, oh, how can I be? Only they were great. No, the opportunity of being great is with us also. Individually, independently.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Anyone else with any question before we let Prabhu go? Hare Krishna. Yes.
Okay, so we can end here. And I'm again expressing my gratitude to all of you for inviting me amongst you. Hare Krishna.
Well, Prabhuji, before you go, if I may ask one more question, and that is, I'm sorry, That is, to us as struggling devotees or practicing devotees, there are certain ways we see and understand things. For example, Srila Prabhupada, our revered guru, sometimes in a sense of humor will say that devotees do not have to be, excuse me to say, like big. No, you have to be slim. That's what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to expect in his disciples. So we see the lifestyle of Maharaj Parikshit. He was living an opulent life, yet he was a pure devotee of the Lord. This Shamaka Rishi, whose son Shringi caused this problem, it is said that Shamaka Rishi was so austere that he will only drink the foam coming out of the calves when they drink the milk of their mother.
Again, what's the last line? Again, you said?
Says when the calves of the cow drink the mother's milk, usually when they drink, there is a foam coming out of the
Foam.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is what Shamaka Rishi lives for.
Yes.
Very, very austere.
Yes.
So, but both of them were pure devotees of the Lord. So, if someone lives the life of Shamaka Rishi and sees Maharaj Parikshit live such an opulent life, it's quite easy for such a person to condemn this person is not living an austere life. So, in effect, my question is, how do we as practicing devotees should look at devotees and not commit offense, and also not become naive when somebody is living a life which is not austere, or someone is living a life which is so much of opulent, but is not actually serving Krishna. It's kind of difficult for us as devotees, neophyte devotees, to see that. But what would be your advice for devotees looking at two different categories of devotees?
What is important is to see the devotion in the life of people more than seeing the opulence or the austerity. Because the opulence, neither the opulence nor the austerity will take us back to Godhead. What takes us back to Godhead is our devotion. So whether Shamik Rishi is very austere and does not have devotion, or Shamik Rishi is very austere but has devotion to Lord. What is more important is he has devotion to Lord. And whether Pandavas and Arjuna and Yudhishthira Maharaj, when they became king, and then Parishit became king, and they were having not ordinary opulence, they had opulence of the whole world, in the entire universe. They were owning the whole universe. You can't imagine today what their opulence was. But more important is not their opulence. More important is there was their devotion. And their devotion was exhibited when they were put in difficulties. For example, as soon as Krishna left, they left the world. Pandavas left the world. Had they been attached to the opulence that they had, they would have continued staying there. Oh, anyways, we deserve, because we have lost it so many years before. We were wandering in the forest. Now time has come. Okay, Krishna has gone by his own sweet will. Let me stay and enjoy my wealth. No, instantly they left. So hardly few years they were actually appearing to be enjoying the opulence. And the long time in their life, they were appearing to be suffering and being austere. But in suffering condition for long time and little time of big opulence, their devotion was constantly there and was growing exponentially. So what is the highlight is not their poverty and not their opulence. The highlight in both the conditions is their devotion. Similarly, Parishit Maharaj may be appearing to be very opulent, but it proved that he was not attached to opulence. Otherwise, after getting cursed to die in 7 days, he would have said, oh my God, 7 days, 24 into 7, 168 hours I have got to enjoy my opulence to the brim. Let me get out and enjoy to the fullest extent. And that was also fine if he had done that. But he did not do that. Instantly, he dropped his crown, dropped his Rajavastra, kingly clothes and ornaments, dropped his throne, only wore kopin, and as a mendicant, like Shamik Rishi, he came to the bank of Ganga. Nothing stopped him to become like Shamik Rishi instantly. What does that mean? He was not attached. He was as impoverished spiritually as Shamik Rishi. Shamik Rishi had voluntarily given up all the opulence. Parikshit also gave up all the opulence voluntarily, instantly. When time came, Parikshit proved that he was not less than Shamik Rishi. So we should never go by externals. We should never go by externals. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, when Gadadhar Pandit went, he was wearing silk dresses and oil and scented scented items. And he was looking so opulent. He was eating betel nut and leaves. His lips were red. He was spitting in the pot, and he was like great opulent person. But the moment the 10th canto verse was chanted, he broke all the clothes and he tore on the clothes. He fell down on the ground unconscious in ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. So the opulence was externally manifested, but when he was tipped, immediately the volcano of devotion erupted from his heart. So what is more important? The first observance of Pundarik Vidyanidhi was not the real one. The second observance of Pundarik Vidyanidhi was the real one. So it takes some trigger to express externally whether we are devotees or not. So the moment the trigger was given, immediately the real self of Pundarik Vidyanidhi was expressed. So we have so many examples in our temple also, who are very rich people, but they are Raja Rishis. You know, their wealth is fully engaged in service to Krishna. Like the Pandavas' wealth, like the wealth of Parikshit Maharaj. Every single penny which was more than necessary was in service to the Lord. That is why he could maintain that consciousness of getting the curse and immediately leaving. If he had not maintained that consciousness of using his wealth in service to Krishna, he could not have left the opulence instantly, because he was not attached before also. That is a proof that he was not attached before also. That's why instantly when he got the curse, he could give it up. If he was attached before to the opulence, he could not have given it up instantly. But the proof is he could give up his opulence immediately because he was not anyway attached to it before also.
Thank you so much. That reminds me of
just-
something Srila Prabhupada said, that in two phases, when he was poor, he never forgot Krishna. And when Krishna gave him everything, he never forgot Krishna. So it's beautiful. Thank you. Srila Maharaj Prabhupada had something to say?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Please, Prabhu, you have to be patient. Don't be in a haste to go.
I'm sorry.
My question is not from your today's class, it's your last class. When you first gave class here, that day there was no time enough to ask you all the questions. So I had one question that time, and I've reserved it for any time we will meet again. So please, now you hear my question. You gave us very beautiful way to constantly remember Krishna. And you gave the example of Radhanath Maharaj. Every time he comes, he said, I was just listening to Prabhupada, and he said like this. And then you showed us that little tape that you recommend. Yeah, that box that you said we should keep as our companion 24 hours. And I'd wanted to ask you, is it a practical advice you are giving? Yes. Is it a practical advice? If somebody listens to Prabhupada every minute while he's eating, while he's working, everything, can he maintain a balance in both material and spiritual life? Because sometimes we seem to have the tendency to want to compare or to want to present a level of Krishna consciousness
which is not meant for ordinary people, which is like for Mahabhagavat. I mean, like Srimad Bhagavatam, it's spoken to Mahabhagavat. It's spoken to those who don't have interest in this world again. And now if you're saying that people should just plug in 24 hours, listening to Prabhupada every minute, every now and then, can they maintain a balance between their normal material life and spiritual life? Don't we run the risk of people becoming too spiritually conscious that they begin to falter materially? Or like the mistake of becoming too materially absorbed, also faltering spiritually. So this is my question. Please, can you explain if that advice is a practical advice or is just advice meant for some class of devotees?
No, it's the most practical advice. It is not meant for some class of people. Very clearly, I tell you.
Okay.
At the same time, there is nothing like being too much spiritual. Being spiritual is your constitutional position. It is you. It is yourself. Being material is not being your own self. It is being something else, that your own constitutional position. So there is nothing like being too much spiritually absorbed. Then why we are studying Yudhishthir, why we are studying Parikshit, why we are studying Arjuna? They are totally impractical people. They are too spiritually advanced. But do you see their life like that? No. When they were kings, they were doing their duties. When they were prince, when they were before they were prince, like Vishnu Maharaj was a prince. He was behaving very responsibly, taking care of kingdom, taking care of sadhus, taking care of their duties nicely, taking care of devotion. Bhishmadev also did his duties, very awkward duties, but he was constantly Krishna conscious. Kunti Devi was a family woman, had children, no husband, so many challenges, but she maintained her life in such a wonderful way. So according to what you said, they appear to be all crazy people because they are on eccentric side of life. But why we read their lives, why we study their lives? Because they are the most ideal example of balance between spirituality and material life and duties. So they understand that their spiritual life is a prime duty and everything else is, by the way, secondary duties of the world to maintain body and soul together. While living in the world, I need to be a mother, I need to be a father, I need to be a businessman, I need to be earning money. But my prime business at all times is to be Krishna conscious, for which we have come here. My prime business is to be Krishna conscious and to go back to Godhead. That's why when I hear constantly Prabhupada's message, all the time when I'm free, it gives me a pristine guidance and clear understanding about how do I tackle different situations in my life. When I'm constantly brushing my teeth remain healthy to digest my food properly. So some people brush their teeth 3 times a day. We call them crazy because some people brush only once a day in the morning. But if you brush it after every meal, your mouth will remain hygienic and your health will also remain good. So similarly, some people may hear Prabhupada lecture once in a week, and some people may hear every moment whenever there is free time. In fact, we should call those people crazy who are also devotees, but constantly they are on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram and YouTube and internet all the time. And they may justify that by saying that I should know the world, what's going on, what is the latest, and how do we preach best way. But we get dragged into that. So what is better, to be constantly hearing Prabhupada or constantly with the mobile seeing the internet activities? How do you balance?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the nice explanation. Just one more clarification. So how would you explain Bhaktivinoda Thakur's advice about what we should not do if we are not Paramahamsas?
Can you explain your question a little better?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur is often quoted as saying the things devotees shouldn't do if they are not Paramahamsa. That if you're not Paramahamsa,
for example,
then you no, rather what you should do, like he says that if you're not Paramahamsa, then you should nourish your mind and body. Only Paramahamsas can be careless about body and mind needs. But if you're not Paramahamsa, you should nourish your body and your mind. And he said, if you're not Paramahamsa, then you should not neglect society norms.
Correct.
So I think he gave 4 things like this. If you're not Paramahamsa, so, and Bhagavatam is actually spoken to Paramahamsas. And most of us who are hearing Bhagavatam today, we're simply aspiring to become devotees. We are not on the level of those who, my question?
Yeah.
My question is, how do you clarify what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said?
Yeah, see.
About if you're not Paramahamsa, there are certain things.
Yeah. Bhaktivinoda
Right.
Thakur is a very
Go ahead.
practical person. He is the one of the most ideal Grahastha Guru that we have, because most of us are Grahasthas. And we always have a question, how to balance, how to be a good husband, how to be a good father, how to be a good son to my mother. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda perfectly exemplified in his behavior how to do all the worldly duties in being perfectly Krishna conscious. At the same time, he is telling us, don't act like a pure devotee. Unless you are, don't act. And he is the one who has told, health is most important, because health is there, then you can build up Krishna consciousness. If health is not good, you cannot become Krishna conscious. However, you do effort. If you are unhealthy, you are sick, you cannot cultivate Krishna consciousness effectively unless you are a Paramahamsa. So mostly when you are sick, we are having great difficulty in chanting our rounds and reading scriptures and listening to lectures and doing seva. We get cut off from all these things. That's why he's advising us that yes, we first accept, I am not a pure devotee, I am not a Paramahamsa. Even if somebody is Paramahamsa, he will humbly say, I am not a Paramahamsa. Right? He will come down to a Madhyamadhikari platform and say, I need to do my worldly course nicely, and in a very suitable condition, I will become Krishna conscious. So let us all come to that understanding that Thakur Bhaktivinoda was a very practical devotee. He was working magistrate, earning a lot of money, having position, doing very important job for government also. A lot of family members in the house, taking care of them also, having worship at home. So he actually taught us how to do our profession in Krishna conscious condition, how to make our profession successful in Krishna conscious way, how to become a father, husband and son in the Krishna conscious way at home, how to make the home Krishna conscious, that he has exemplified. So the clarification is like this only, that first we accept we are not pure devotees, and then we do not neglect our worldly duties, like looking after parents, looking after children, looking after wife, looking after preaching project, looking after our service to Guru Maharaj, looking after our profession, to maintain ourselves, to do our seva. So he had that frugal timetable, of service and of duties. You can study his timetable by his book called Seventh Goswami. What time he would sleep, what time he would get up. He did not allow Maya to enter anywhere in the gap. So from our previous discussion, we can also say he was like an impractical, crazy person. He had nothing in between, no entertainment also. He was constantly preaching and staying up in the middle of the night, writing poetries, going to the villages, Namahatta programs, going to office and doing 4 hours work, 16 hours work in 4 hours and coming back, earning huge amount of money with respect and honor. He was like an extraordinary, impractical person in one sense. But as I said earlier, being Krishna conscious is our original constitutional position, which we have to be honest with. We have to be honest to that position that we are in, or we are who we are. We have to be honest and rational to that reality, that who we are, and try to match up with who we are by our activities and by our thoughts. What are we doing now is not being honest to our position constitutionally and acting on the platform of what we are not. And then we argue how it is possible, how we can do that, how we can constantly be in temple all the time. We can ask so many questions to people. Why are you all time in temple? Why don't you go for a movie for a while? Why don't you go for a walk for a while? Why don't you go for yoga for a while? Now, one who has realized that he is a spirit soul and he needs to connect with Krishna, he will make sure that he connects with Krishna. Let the world judge him as crazy, impractical person. When he is convinced, he will not bother about the world. He will just do what his convictions are. The moment you understand you are part and parcel of Krishna and you are constitutionally Krishna's servant, then nothing stops you from being Krishna's servant at all cost.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I think this is the last question and answer for today.
Yes.
But Prabhuji, we can't thank you enough. I remember in the middle of your discussion, you were talking about how Maharaj Parikshit was already a pure devotee. Arjun was already a pure devotee, but to help the rest of the world, they were asking questions and behaving as if they did not know what was going on. So in the same way, sometimes some devotees also ask questions to help others understand better what we need to do.
It's always good to ask question.
Yes.
You may get an answer which is favorable or not favorable, or answer which is palatable or not palatable. But still we should keep asking question. Because asking question is the only means of getting knowledge. And whether you like the answer or not, but still asking will always help. Asking question means the platform of humility that I want to know. And we have to maintain that platform in all conditions of life.
Thank you so much for this beautiful mood. So on that note, we humbly going to request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation for Prabhuji's presence and his wisdom. Jai!
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Dasha Kripa Sindhavya Ivacha, Nam Pavanabhyo, Vishyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai! Vishwarup Prabhu.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.